Okay. This is going to be a bit weird, but I'm going to just do a demo of how I do my PCB stenciling. So, I had some issues with this stenciling machine. This is the 3020 SMD stenciling machine. You can get this on Amazon, it's like $300. Good machine, it has some issues. So I had to 3D print a bunch of additional support pegs for under the PCBs because they flex too much. You can see the brass ones here. It just doesn't come with enough for proper panels like this. Like if you have a lot of panel with a lot of small parts, it just doesn't work real well. So I'll probably post these on Thingiverse or something. They're easy enough to make if you got a pair of calipers and a 3D printer. So place that down, bring your stencil down, and then I have a really bright work light above this. That way I can visually look and make sure I'm aligned. If I really wanted to make sure I'm super aligned, I'll get my little handheld microscope and I'll look at the little parts here for my USB-C, make sure that they're perfectly aligned. I know they're already close, so that's good enough for me. Now I use this machine once a week, but this is going to sound weird. I vacuum the top of the stencil, and then I vacuum the inside of the machine, and then I'll go with paste and stuff. So it's going to be loud for a second. And I just do that to get any basic stuff off. Anything else on this should be more than acceptable. If I can rub my hand on it with my glove and not really get anything off of it, we're good. And then we use we'll get our solder paste out, chip quart. This is the stuff I'm using here. I have it bagged up because this goes into the refrigerator. And I don't want to completely contaminate the refrigerator with lead all the time and just have one dedicated to a single thing. So I have it like triple bagged. I have a whole process of storing this. So there's my solder. You want to mix it. This table comes with this and a cheap plastic squeegee. So just going to give this a quick mix. This paste is old, so if it looks weird to you, that is why. I have new stuff coming literally tomorrow, but I wanted to get 2 more panels done, and this stuff's still expensive. I kind of don't want to just hoik it either. It's like $60 for a small thing of this. Okay, and the reason why you want to refrigerate this is because you can see this is very runny because I set up the GoPro and I didn't do it immediately. So this might not be the best thing in the world right now. The reason why you refrigerate is to thicken it up. When it's thicker, it spreads better. It spreads more evenly across the pads on the PCB. So I just like it better when it's cold. Even a lot of people on Reddit and everything else recommend refrigerating your solder paste, especially if you're doing stencil work. So I like to just pull it forward like you're doing a t-shirt. I will dab the excess off of here. I will look at my back traces here. You can see it peeled back a little bit, but I see all the holes are filled. So I like going back in a wiping pattern and then setting my thing about right here, pulling this up, remove my PCB, and then grabbing my next one. Like say I got a nice application there. There's no smudging or anything weird going on. But that's the reason why I like the wiping pattern. The wiping pattern really makes sure that it removes the excess, especially with all this under support now of the PCBs from these added pegs. I could put a fair amount of pressure on there and really get rid of excess solder, which is pretty important. Oh, thank heavens. PCBWay does an awesome job with PCBs, by the way. I've not really had to adjust this since I set this up, and I've gone through probably 400 of these panels. It says a lot for their stencil too, because this stencil is held up through 400 panels. So apply the solder. Gotta reapply right there a little bit, right there a little bit. I see there's an issue. I don't have a lot of work time with this because it's a bit warm in this workroom right now. So that's why I'm not stopping to zoom in and show things. So wipe that off. Wedge that back there again. Pull this back up. And take off my board. And I got another really good board. Now I do 2 of these panels at a time. Due to the temperature of the solder paste rising very quickly. It is very runny already. And I don't want it to be very runny already. The runnier the solder paste is, usually for me, the worst off of the time I have. So when I'm done, I'll put one back in here just for storage. I'll take a paper towel that's folded in half. Well, two paper towels that are folded in half. Put it between there and there. I will now scrape and flip this up. I'm not going to show the step because it's a pain moving cameras. I am just taking this extra solder and putting it back into the solder container. And I'm sealing it shut as quickly as possible because the flux evaporates out of the solder paste really fast and it degrades. You can add more flux and mix in more flux, but preferably you wouldn't be doing that. And I know people's cleaners are kind of like whatever. I prefer Max Tight, whatever fuck you want to call this brand. 90% rubbing alcohol. I also have paper towels just for this station. The paper towels I'm using over here are only for this workstation here. It's kind of like the same thing like the glove. I have a glove holder that's right here, and that box of gloves is only used for this workstation because of contamination between other things. I do resin printing and stuff as well in this room, so I try to have individualized workstations. But I give this a good rub down with rubbing alcohol on one side. You can see it's super wet. I'll take this up. You can see it soaked through onto that. So I'm going to move it over. Luckily enough, my stencil's small enough I can do this. Last rub down. You can see in the reflection, that's why I have a bright light here, you can see in the reflection there's a lot of debris. But I've gotten most of the solder off now. So I'll flip this up, I will throw this away. I'll take 2 more sheets. I'll fold one in half. And that just stays right there till next time. And then fold this one in half, and I'll use this to dry the top surface. The dry paper towel should capture any of the other small paper towel fragments, but that's also why I vacuum. And just like that, I am done. A stage I skipped is like when I do start, because of the paper towel drying, and it's why I vacuum. Before I vacuum, I take one of these cheap brushes, and I just brush over all these spots, front and bottom, to knock off any paper towel fragments that might be stuck in the smaller parts of the stencil. But that is how I stencil the circuit boards for the power pucks. This will now set here till next week because it's the end of the work week for me, and I'm only doing 2 panels tonight to get slightly ahead for next week. So links, there will be links in the description for the stencil machine. There are some problems with it, but I'll do a full-length review at some point when I feel like doing it. But yeah, have a good one.